exorcism. You'd like that? Intensely. But wouldn't that drive you out of Reagan? It would bring us together. You and Reagan. You and us.
And the power of Christ compels you to listen to our podcast. Grab your holy water and crucifixes, party people. And we're going to explore the worldwide fascination with demonic possession and exorcisms. It all started in 1973 when Universal Studios brought to the world a demon-possessed little girl and the priest who fought to save her soul. William Friedkin was the first to bring demonic possession to the big screen, but definitely not the last. Other films, such as The Last Exorcism, The Exorcist III, and Don't Look at the Demon, have mystified and tantalized audiences. My personal favorite usually has the tagline, quote, based on a true story.
My absolute favorite as well.
I love anything that they say is based on a true story.
I still love Blair Witch for that reason.
Yeah. I don't care what anybody says. Blair Witch and paranormal activity.
Yeah.
They revolutionized the cinema of found footage. And that's what all of these like really fun movies that we get now, that's what they piggyback all on top of. Such as The Exorcism of Emily Rose. This is based on Annalisa Michael. Deliver Us from Evil is based on the life of New York detective Ralph Sarchi, who went from being a homicide detective to being an ordained exorcist. And The Pope's Exorcist, which was about Father Emmerich, who was the Vatican's exorcist up until he was like 96, I think, and he passed. But are they really based on true stories? Multimedia outlets would have you believe so by introducing the world to people like Michael Taylor. You heard of Michael Taylor?
I have not. Who's Michael Taylor?
Michael Taylor murdered his wife in 1974 while he was, air quotes, possessed.
I'm going to use that excuse too.
Oh, yeah. It's not the first time that the devil went to court. She accused him of having an affair with the female leader of their Christian fellowship group. Father Peter Vincent performed an exorcism on Michael, who spent the remainder of his days in an asylum. And then we have Terence Cottrell, an 8-year-old autistic boy who was exorcised for over 2 hours. Sadly, Terence died while the family pastor decided to, air quotes, smother the demons. But it's not just lay people. Sister Marcia Cornassi, who suffered with schizophrenia, when the church decided that conventional medical treatment had failed because Sister Marcia was actually possessed. So this woman had a diagnosis of schizophrenia, and she was a nun, and she stopped taking her medication. So when the demon came back, the lead of the church, the archdiocese of that church, decided she needed to be exorcised. She was tied to a cross, placed in the convent's dark cellar, and was denied food and water. This simple servant of God died from dehydration, starvation, and ultimately was suffocated. Christy Bell, which Christy's actually a young boy, went to visit his older sister and her boyfriend for Christmas. The sister determined her 15-year-old brother was practicing witchcraft, and along with her boyfriend, began performing baptisms and exorcising the demon. Christy was tortured for a week before being drowned in their bathtub.
Wow.
And this list would never be complete without discussing Annalisa Michael herself. Her short but troubled life was subjected to 67 exorcisms. We're not going to go too much into her case because, one, it's way overdone. And two, this is a two-parter. This is just talking about what the world thinks possessions are and how Hollywood has portrayed not only demons, but those who exorcise them. But we do have a more realistic mental health episode that will follow this that talks about possession and demons and the actual medical society. So we're not going to go too much into her here, but she's one of the famous, if not the most famous, messed up exorcism cases. Hollywood isn't the only avenue that brings this mysterious phenomena to a curious audience. Matt Bacalo in 2009 wrote a book on the subject, The Rite, The Making of a Modern Exorcist, regales the story of psychiatrist Dr. Richard Gallagher, an expert on demonic possession and how science interplays with spirituality. So, what is your opinion on science versus theology?
I mean, I feel like they're definitely two different like spectrums. Like there isn't very many aspects of either one that cross over into the other that connect them. They're very isolated, almost like parallel if you're thinking about it. They're almost parallel. Yeah, there may be a couple strands of stuff here and there that connect them, but otherwise they're almost two separate entities. So it's really hard to compare them.
And that's what fascinates me is when you have professionals that try to see both sides or try to connect both sides. Dr. Gallagher had an encounter with a woman named Julia who claimed to be a satanic priestess possessed by demons. Julia claimed she would space out and a voice would speak through her in languages she wasn't fluent in. As well, she claimed to levitate for long periods of time while in a trance. After this encounter, Dr. Gallagher started his mission to assist exorcists to distinguish, quote, troubles of the mind from troubles of the spirit. This patient comes to you. What is going to be your first knee-jerk reaction to these claims? Julia tells you she's a satanic priestess and she's possessed by demons.
That she is suffering from hallucinations and has mental illness. I would have her go get tested.
The good doctor is an active member of the International Association of Exorcists as a scientific advisor. This association was founded by the most prolific exorcist in modern times. And our next subject. So for anybody that has seen the Pope's Exorcist, I think I'm coming down with a demon now.
Right. I don't know. We're talking about it, and it's like I can't stop coughing now. Demon's in me. The demon is in me.
My demons usually come out of my ass after I eat pizza.
Ugh.
Ass demons are the worst. Father Gabriel Amorth, during his lifetime, served as the Pope's exorcist. So, does this sound familiar, party people? Not only did Father Amorth have a movie and a documentary made of his life, but wrote several books with titles such as My Battle Against Satan, The Devil is Afraid of Me, and An Exorcist Tells His Story. And I just want to point out something that's kind of ironic to me. We attempted to have an exorcist from our area. We wanted to interview him and bring him on the show. And we'll talk more about him, but his reasoning for not coming to talk to us was that, and I quote him verbatim for this, the rite of exorcism is a sacred rite that is not discussed in public. We don't publicly display, describe, or invite exorcisms. The Pope's exorcist, supposedly the most powerful man in the Catholic religion, wrote a book, 2, 3.
And had a movie and a documentary.
But they don't talk about it. I think my horse shit meter just went off. And here's something. Okay, here's something else. This is another thing that's kind of sensationalized to me. Father Amorth, before his death at 91, claimed to have performed over 700 exorcisms. Some were televised, while others are available on YouTube. If this is so sacred, why can I watch it on YouTube? And now, guys, we're not out to attack the Catholic religion. We're not out to attack anybody's religion. We are truth seekers. We are curious women that live in this world that challenge boundaries. We challenge the ideals. We challenge the theology. We challenge the norms so that we can understand our world, how it works, why it works, and also to, in our own minds, distinguish between what we see on TV, what's fun in a movie, maybe makes you jump, put your arm around your date, and what's real, what happens in life. The last person for us to talk about, certainly no less important than Father Amorth, was, I mentioned him, a New York City Sergeant, Ralph Sarchi. He became a demonologist because during his time as a homicide detective, he encountered numerous paranormal and possibly possessed people. After becoming a Catholic demonologist, Sarchi regularly assists with exorcisms, regular meetings with the Warrens, along with his partner, Mark Stabinsky, would tackle demonic infestation with wooden crosses and holy water. I'm sorry, and this is going to be so bad, but I'm going to say it anyway because I always do. What kind of weak fucking demon are you that a mere wooden cross and a little bit of water drove you out? Sarchi has his book, Deliver Us from Evil, which he retold some of his experiences. Some of his cases involved very gruesome rituals, demonic home invasions, and an incubus that steals a young girl's innocence. What's the difference, Lav, between an incubus and a succubus?
A succubus is if I am remembering right, is generally more of a female version, and it feeds off of sexual energy.
Mhm.
And an incubus feeds off of fear, I think, but I don't know. I really don't know.
Incubus is just a male version of a succubus.
Wow.
They are sexualized demons that take the form of either a woman or a man, and or a male or female gender. And their whole mission is to get their victim to participate in acts of blasphemy.
And
Um,
incubus makes so much more sense now.
doesn't it though?
Well, and even like the rhythm in all their songs, they're like the perfect sex,
Mhm.
slow.
It is an actual,
Yeah.
it's the actual motion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so with all this talk of exorcisms and demons, one may find themselves asking, what exactly is all this creepy stuff? Settle in, party people, because here we go. The Catholic Encyclopedia defines exorcism as the act of driving out, warding off demons or evil spirits from persons, places, and objects. An authoritative command in the name of God to vacate their instruments of malice. And good example, Annabelle. If you guys remember the story of Annabelle, Annabelle is a Raggedy Ann doll that a demon um, used to get after two nurses and scared the hell out of them. Um, and there's Zach Baggins, his museum has like a Dybbuk box, which is where malicious spirits from Jewish folklore are
Reminds me kind of a Pandora's box.
very similar. Very similar. Um, so the first objective in spiritual warfare is knowing the enemy, which actually in any warfare is knowing the enemy, right?
Yeah.
You can't take them down if
Least
you don't know who they
successful.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Catholic religion tells the story of a beautiful angel who fell out of grace with God because of his jealousy and envy towards God's beloved mankind. Known by several names, the most popular being Lucifer or Satan, began a revolution in heaven, and along with the angels who sided with Lucifer, was cast out of heaven.
I mean, I like to call him Big Daddy.
But on a more serious, naturally, the question begging to be asked is, what does the devil really want from us? To quote Sister Anne from the movie Exorcist Believer, which I want to sidestep for a second. That movie got terrible reviews. I understand why they gave it terrible reviews, but I liked it. I liked it enough to watch it 3 times. So kind of like my favorite influencer, Mama Cookie, says, if you don't like it, don't bite it and fucking move along. So you don't like it, don't watch it. But she said, quote, rather than wanting to simply extinguish happiness and joy, the devil wants people to give up hope. The Catholic diocese states their purpose is to take as many of God's children to eternal damnation. They attach themselves in hopes of wrecking humanity's relationship with God. That answers a question I have asked since I was a teenager, is why is it mostly Catholics that talk about getting possessed and they have rites of exorcism?
Right.
It's that right there. Most other religions just talk about, you're going to go to hell. If you do anything that's even remotely fun, you're going to go to hell. And I say cheers to that, because if the fun people are there, then that's where I want to be.
I agree with that.
But it's not only demons. Malignant spirits are also capable of inhabiting human beings. Spirit possessions are said to be created when altered states of consciousness or heightened spiritual awareness is present, such as mediums, shamans, and some who practice the dark arts. Being a conduit for spirits to communicate is both a blessing and a curse. But for our purposes, we're only going to focus on the demonic possession, and like not so much mediums and that. We're just going to talk about like everyday people who claimed possession. One of the most famous cases of spirit possession is the Smurl family. Have you heard about them, Lav?
I don't think so.
So that was one of Ed and Lorraine Warren's cases where a family purchased a duplex in the back east somewhere,
Okay.
and it was haunted. And the family, very devout Catholic, they moved into one side, and his parents moved into the other side. And
Okay.
they both complained of demonic infestation, which we're going to go into what all of that details. So, hey, if you happen to see it, you'll know it.
Okay.
And knowing your enemy. But the family, the Smira family, talked the most about a black hoofed entity that would go around the house and just torment the family. He dropped a chandelier from the kitchen ceiling and almost hit one of the daughters. But the Smurl's father, which I want to say his name was Richard, I could be wrong, but he talked about a succubus that would rape him in the middle of the night. And he would find himself dreaming of a beautiful woman. How many of us have not done that? Or a beautiful man in some people's cases. And would wake up to feeling aroused and then feeling as if he is being, air quotes, serviced. But it's not the beautiful woman from his dream that has mounted him. It's an ugly witch hag that steals his, again, air quotes, holy seed.
His holy seed.
Say that without cracking a smile. And I'm sorry. If you, please go and look. You guys go and look on internet. This pictures was from like the 80s. And this dude is no freaking Baywatch babe. He's yeah. But now here the funny thing is, and this is where the skeptic in me always pops out, is when they told this story to the media and he brought himself to confessing these things. His wife interrupts in the middle of a newscast and says, well, I've had a succubus as well. I've been how did you say, ethereally, otherworldly raped as well.
She wanted to be part of it.
Somebody was feeling left out. They wanted the...
I mean, at this point, come on, incubus, Bring the whole band.
You know, at this point, if a succubus shows up in my bedroom and I start out dreaming of a beautiful, voluptuous blonde and over my eyes to a sea witch, I'm just going to stick a pillowcase over her head.
Close your eyes, go back to the dream.
Just go back to the dream.
Or in fact, if you're dreaming at all, like I'm going to remember this and I'm going to be like, nope, not looking.
Not
looking.
Because I hate to break it to you guys, but women have been having sex with their eyes closed for centuries.
You have sex with your eyes closed?
No, sometimes.
No. I mean, I like to just stare straight into their eyes, not blinking.
Because you're a psycho. Because you want to see if they're surviving the fupa.
Can you breathe?
Knock once for yes, twice for no.
Blink.
Are you in danger? Blink. You know what? I could have my death report could say death by fupa, and everybody who knows me would know I died a very happy woman.
Death by fupa.
Death by fupa. But getting back into a little more seriousness, you may find yourself asking, can someone just walking around become demonically possessed? And the answer would be no. But a person can become possessed either willingly or unwillingly by participating in the following. First is practices of an occult nature where cursed artifacts are used and protection prayers or spells are not used. Perfect example of this, and this is one of your favorite movies, and it's one of my favorite movies, Lav, is 13 Ghosts.
Yes, I do like 13 Ghosts.
We are going to do an episode on this movie because the dark zodiac that they put together is fascinating. But if you've watched the movie, you will notice that on the glass that's all around the regular part of the house, there's all these spells and incantations that have been written etched into the glass. And that was to protect the living up in the house from the demons that were in the basement. So if you're going to be playing with things of a dark nature, you better bring some light with you, or just don't do it at all. If you don't know what you're doing, just don't do it at all. Incantations that invoke demonic entities to enter through a spiritual portal or doorways, accepting the invitation or promises of Lucifer and his allies. There was demons and hors d'oeuvres being talked about. So, two of my favorite things.
I like it. Demons and and appetizers.
We should have seances and charcuterie, which I never fucking say right. It is always going to be a shark coochie board. Just saying.
Ectoplasm eggs.
Wait, though. Ectoplasm is slimy.
Eggs can be slimy too.
No, it's not happening. But if you were a fan of what the hell was that show where they had to do all the different dangerous stunts and shit, and they'd win a prize at the end, like, you know, you get dumped out of a helicopter in a car. You had to eat like animal intestines. I wish I could remember. You guys hit one of us up in the comments or in our DM and tell Fear Factor. It was Fear Factor.
Oh, Fear Factor. If you would have said like eating cockroaches, I would have known.
Well, they had a thing, and it happened quite a bit, where you'd eat 100-year-old egg. And this thing was green and it was disgusting. But you had to shove the whole thing in your mouth and chew it and swallow it without throwing up.
I
Oh,
once attempted to. Well, I watched somebody eat one of the fermented chicks where they take the egg that's developing a chick inside
mhm.
and then they ferment it, and then I watched somebody eat that and it sounded crunchy.
Oh, I don't like eggs to begin with, but wow. Well, you know what? Talking about fermented baby chicks and stuff. So our last one is willingly participating in demonic ceremonies, rituals, and blood sacrifices, communing with demonic forces and opening yourself up to these forces. Honestly, guys, again, the skeptic in me, if you're participating in rituals and blood sacrifices, the only thing coming after you is the damn police department.
Yeah. You're conscious, maybe?
Yeah. Thankfully, as far as we know, Lucifer and his allies are not able to inhabit a person who's not been offered up or has offered themselves up for possession.
You know, it's weird. Like I was thinking, I watched something recently about possession, and there was an interview of a lady who was talking about her experience being possessed, and she was saying that she had no memory of it. Like she had no memory of for like weeks.
And actually, we're going to get into that on with the mental health side of this in the second episode because it's funny that you bring that up. Let's say that you somehow stumble into the possibility of being possessed or being demonically attacked.
Okay.
Um, this is what you can do to protect yourself. So first is the Catholic Church states a life of faith, a life of prayer, a moral life, and a sacramental life.
If you're not like if you are say you haven't been to church your entire life and you're a thief and a drug addict and now you're possessed, like you're already ruled out of all of that.
But here's the
It's
thing. Here's the thing. In biblical pages, in the pages of the Bible, and anybody who has anybody that's lived past 21 should know this. It's constantly talked about how this being, this man, this Jesus Christ walked the earth, and when he walked the earth, he came across prostitutes, murderers, drug addicts, thieves. He was hung on a cross next to in between two thieves. And he drove demons out of these people. But they were not the faithful on their knees in church. They were the afflicted out on the streets.
right.
So my thing is how is it that the Catholic Church states you got to have a life of faith and a life of prayer, a moral life and a sacramental life? What if you've never had that opportunity?
Right.
What if you don't know? What if you don't know anything about going about religions or being a part of one? Are you just fucked?
Yeah. But
They don't.
not getting possessed anyway because it only seems like really religious people are the ones that are possessed.
I know, right?
You don't ever hear about that Wiccan that's like, fuck, Satan got me, guys. Satan's got me. Satan is real after all.
Buy my book on Amazon. Okay. So that reminds me of a line from the movie Pray for the devil, and it's not pray, P-R-A-Y, it's P-R-E-Y.
Okay.
And in it, it's about a nun who wanted to become an exorcist, and a case that was covered. It's supposed to be based on a true story. I don't know. I never found anything about it. But in it, she says the reason that Catholic people are so subjective to possession and demonic attacks is because they are the one religion that is completely riddled in guilt and sacrifice. That they are the only group that is pious enough, because you look at bishops and priests and nuns, they live a life of servitude. They live a life of impoverishment so they can serve their God.
Right.
So what would possess a person to give up all of their worldly possessions, all their vices, all of their, and simply give that over to God? It's because they are so riddled with guilt. It is the only way to make themselves feel worthy.
Or they're possessed by God.
You know,
You never hear about that. You never
uh,
hear about angels possessing people. It's always demons. It's always the bad side. If the bad side is doing it, then why isn't the good side doing it? Why isn't the good side possessing people to fight this battle?
and yet you have, it's not only a movie, it's a comic strip, Constantine, who is a character that is a man who is half alive and half dead. He's in between, halfway between heaven, halfway between hell. And he's still on earth. And he fights Gabriel, the archangel Gabriel, who takes the form of a human, which in this movie it's Tilda Swinton. And she plays a badass, badass woman. And he's fighting Gabriel because Gabriel has come down to inflict holy justice on the world.
Okay.
So there's that. There's the movie Legion. Legion is about,
Legion.
that's a good one, yeah.
Mhm.
He's the Archangel Michael, and he's here to save mankind from the uprising of demons. And it has been said several times, and I've heard it through different documentaries and things that I've read about and researched. The devil's biggest tool, most successful act against humanity is convincing humans he does not exist. So they also say knowing God and communing with God in both formal and informal prayers, having a relationship with God outside of church. How do you do that if you don't know what to do? They also say participation in sacraments such as baptism, confirmation, penance, which is confession, and communion. There again, there's that guilt. You know, a very good friend of mine is a very devout Catholic. My wife was raised Catholic, but she doesn't practice. They didn't really practice too orthodox. And she, my good friend who's Orthodox Catholic, she'll go to confession like twice a week and confess things like cheating on her diet. Like, I need God to forgive me because I was supposed to stay away from ice cream, but I had, a Baskin Robbins 3 scooper.
I would have to be in confession every day. I'd be like, Dear God, or Dear Sky Daddy.
This sounds like a pilot. That's pretty cool. Sky Daddy.
Dear Sky Daddy, I had 14 coffees today. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.
Like,
I would walk in and sit down, and they'd raise the little screen and look at me, and he'd go, "Oh, fuck, she's back." Okay.
Dear Sky Daddy.
Dear Sky Daddy. Big Daddy and Sky Daddy. It makes sense.
Big Daddy and Sky Daddy.
It is believed in the Roman Catholic religion that atheists and non-believers need to uphold a moral life. Lucifer is constantly on the prowl for people who have no relationship, a weak relationship, or a broken relationship with God. He sounds like a Tinder date. Need some hot lovin'? Swipe left.
No thanks, Big Daddy. Sounds like he has some infections.
That's your fupa would be on fire for sure. I'm gonna say it wrong. Evangelicals and fundamentalists have said that baptism guarantees an eternal protection, a path to heaven, if you will. The diocese teaches that doors that they have opened or that have been opened for an individual can still be inflicted with a demonic problem. Baptism is not a protective force field. Sometimes free will opens a righteous person up to demonic energy, either by choices they made or were made for them.
Okay.
So here you have one belief system. So the fundamentalists and the evangelicals are like your Assembly of Gods, your Lutheran, your Baptist churches, and they say that if you're baptized,
Okay.
that's your fast pass.
Yeah.
You're front of the line because you paid that price. You're front of the line,
Right.
and no matter what you do, as long as you stay baptized, you can't be possessed by a demon.
Right.
At all. But then the Catholic Church says, well, you know what? We could do a christening. You could be christened as a baby and, go out as a screwed up teenager and fuck around in your 20s. And the next thing you know, your ex-boyfriend has cursed you with a demon because you gave him herpes.
Damn those herpes.
I cannot even begin to think of how a conversation like that would start.
How you would tell somebody that you gave them herpes?
Demonic herpes. Like, forgive me, Father, I've sinned. Well, what did you do? I gave this guy demonic herpes.
Sky Daddy, got a problem.
Like Top Gun, talk to me, Goose.
Right.
Talk to me, Sky Daddy. Why do I feel like if you're in confession and you're confessing to Sky Daddy that you gave somebody demonic herpes, that you just get this immediate vision of the Walgreens pharmacy to go get your ass to buy a condom and probably some ointment.
Some ointment, you say?
I don't know. I don't know. I've never encountered, even in working in the medical field, I never encountered any type of STI ever.
I mean, I wonder what the symptoms of demonic herpes are.
Your twat catches fire. It's a brush fire. It's a brush.
You just wake up with red pubic hair. You're like, well, shit.
Not even that. You wake up and you smell something burning and lift up your neck.
Imagine walking into the party and you're like, look at my OnlyFans, guys.
Can you imagine the 911 call? 911, what's your emergency? I'm reporting a brush fire. Okay, you're
Right.
reporting a brush fire. What's the location? In my pants.
Your pants would just be on fire. Liar, liar, pants on fire.
That's what I started to say. No más pantalones. For the unfortunate soul who might find himself possibly under demonic attack, or someone they know can identify the level or stage by the following list, starting with demonic infestation. So this is what the Catholic Church teaches believers that are the 4 stages of possession. And anybody who has watched a possession horror movie ever in their life are going to know these and know them by sight. And you always know when the movie's going to get good because these things start coming.
Right.
So just like insects, demons infect the surroundings of a potential target. Residents will say they hear disembodied footsteps or voices. Objects can be moved or manipulated with no discernible source, or rancid smells with no visible source. This tactic is used first to begin breaking down the target's psyche, spiritual beliefs, and support systems. The second is oppression. Infestation activities are amped up as physical attacks, sleep disturbances, including nightmares, frequent illnesses with no source, major depression, the feeling of being weighted down. The inflicted will begin experiencing severe issues in their professional and personal relationships in a rapid succession. So, guys, if you're out there acting like an asshole to your partner and being a dick at work, it may not be your fault after all. You may not be a giant asshole. You may be possessed.
If a man ever comes to me and was like, I am sorry for the way I treated you, I was possessed at the time, I don't even know what my reaction would be.
You know what? I'd be like, hey, Lav, I was possessed by a demon. It didn't let me see you for the angel you are. I could hear you seriously looking him square in the eyes and be like, get the fuck out of here. Possessed.
Right.
So the third is obsession. See, all of these kind of sound like your dating life. They infest you, they oppress you, and now they're obsessed with you.
That is not my dating life. My dating life is they're not obsessed at all. They run away like I'm Satan and I lit them on fire.
That's just
There's not even any infestation. I do not have demonic herpes.
I'll second
no-
that.
There's no possessed penis coming near my body.
Do you know there's a song called Detachable Penis? I'm not shitting you guys. I'm dead serious. There is a song called Detachable Penis. And you know what? I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna attach it to the end of this episode so you guys can just hear the lyrics because it's fucking hilarious. But obsession, just as the title describes, this stage perfectly. The target becomes obsessed with the idea and feelings invading their psyche. They may become aware something inside them is not supposed to be there. And I just mentioned a detachable penis. So that would kind of, that would fall in that category, wouldn't it?
I mean, there's a lot of things.
I have never had anything in me that wasn't supposed to be there. I'm gonna confess that right now.
I mean, I've had the remorse a couple times and been like, damn. Shit.
Take the walk of shame. I've took the walk of shame a few times.
No, I was like in the moment, like laying there, like, should I just leave this? This is super bad. So bad. And then you're like, oh, thank God he's got whiskey dick. Sorry, bro, gotta go. She doesn't even know what to say.
I don't, because I'm trying to. I'm like I'm envisioning like this guy getting all, like romantic and and then like you get together, you're in the middle of the act, and all of a sudden you're like, oh fuck, I shouldn't be here. And
Yeah,
sucks.
it's usually like, this is not what I was expecting. This is awful. How do I end this as quickly as possible?
Actually, come to think of it, that could be in I don't know about gay men, but I guess it'd be the same as with the heterosexual men. I guess they just go limp. Um,
When they're
but
possessed.
oh no, I imagine if they're possessed, that's like 24-hour Viagra. Could you imagine? Wait,
If we ever talk to an exorcist, that is a question that I'm going to ask them.
is if you get is it
Yeah.
like a
Do they
So-
do they have a heart on when they're getting their exorcism done? That's what I want to know.
So see, guys, you actually don't have to go out and pay $40, $60, $100 per blue pill. You can go to Walmart and pick you up a $15 Ouija board and ask for a spirit to come in and possess your dick.
Just the dick, though. That's interesting.
Nothing else. Nothing else. This is also the stage where the target may begin asking for spiritual guidance. I don't know. With a possessed dick, would you really go ask for spiritual guidance?
No, I feel like you'd be at the strip club or something.
That would hurt after a while.
It's possessed. You can't feel anything.
Well, you gotta feel something, or what the hell's the point?
Now I'm like rethinking this because, yeah, but you're not getting any gratification from it, so this is just torture for you. Yeah. You're just out here with your possessed dick, like doing all this stuff, and nothing. It's not good.
Porn. You could go into porn.
But don't you have to? I'm ending this conversation right now.
That's good, because our fourth our fourth stage is the actual possession. So the fourth and final stage.
So, dick possession is before, but visual possession. It just seeps on it.
It's sneak. Is it kind of like my pizza demons? I mean, mine sneak out my butthole. Does it sneak in his butthole?
Or the actual possession takes place because of a possessed penis, and it like spreads the seed.
The holy seed.
Yeah, the holy seed.
The holy seed. Wow. Free will is severely compromised. The target will demonstrate aversion to holy symbols, will exhibit superhuman strength, speaking in languages the target could not possibly know or have studied. The demon, through the target, will reveal itself by changing the facial features of the target and talk of events, secrets, and the past sins of others. This is a fucking sexual encounter. Think about it. You know, tell me I'm a bad girl. You're a bad girl. I know what you like to do. I've seen what you like to do. And then your face changes with, the orgasm, and every sexual encounter is a demon. And think about that.
Damn.
So then if you're masturbating, are you possessing yourself?
I guess so. I mean, there's probably something foreign inside you.
It's not something that ain't supposed to be there. The target will participate in self-harming, violent, or aggressive outbursts, especially towards...
shades of gray.
That's what I just started saying, especially towards clergy. Yeah, I'm in the middle of having an orgasm and a priest walks in. Oh, that's like a bad joke. Priest, yeah, bye. And a monkey walk into my bedroom as the demon is possessing. Oh, wait. The target... This is gonna go. This is gonna follow right. Take another bad left turn. The target may expel items from their mouth, such as rusted nails, animal embryos, and possibly sacramentals, such as an inverted cross or broken rosary. But okay,
Ever if this stuff came out of people, because now I'm thinking not sexually. So have they ever gone and x-rayed or did MRIs or anything on these people that this stuff came out of to see if there was cuts or lesions or anything in their throats or stomachs that would have happened from this stuff coming out?
Okay, well, let's piggyback on that. Is not only what have they done, like a medical exam to see if there's any kind of damage, where are these items?
Oh, yeah.
Because I read a case about a woman during an exorcism in Italy. She spat out or regurgitated, however you want to think about it, rusty iron nails. And the article said they were the nails of the crucifixion.
Wouldn't that be worth some money?
That's what I'm saying. How do you know they're from the crucifixion?
Yeah, they would have to be tested and dated.
And this chick doesn't have an affliction or a psychosis where she swallows shit.
Yeah, she has severe pica.
Exactly. Thank you. And 3, why would you not put this into the Vatican? Why would you not demonstrate this? Look, we have been telling you guys all along this shit happens, and here's the evidence. I think it's just like the toast that gets burned with the image of Jesus. Somebody accidentally puts butter on it, and there you go. They eat it. Once the clergy presents the possession case and all evidence proves acceptable by the archdiocese, the process of exorcism may go something like this. Now, here we go again, and I'm gonna say your name, Father Gary Thomas. This is your other brethren has put this out on the almighty Google. And if this is such a sacred, undiscussable event, why can I, one, pay $14.99? And I shit you not, guys, look it up. We could pay $14.99 and become registered, certified exorcists. And you can pay $20, $19.99, and do an online class to become a demonologist. I guess it's only sacred until the almighty dollar comes into play.
I mean,
First thing is, the possessed individual is restrained so they are unable to harm themselves or others. Second, the exorcist begins by reciting the Lord's Prayer, which goes, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, followed by a Hail Mary prayer that says, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Holy Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Now, I'm not going to make any kind of jokes here because these are actually very beautiful prayers. This asking of this Holy Mother entity. This is actually, it sounds very beautiful. It sounds as if you're asking, your mom to take care of you, to help you. The exorcist, with the aid of sacraments such as holy water crosses and Saint Benedict medals, all blessed by a higher religious authority, begin the Roman rites. This process is part of the battle between the demon and the exorcist. The exorcist demands the demon leave the person and demands the demon's name, and must be followed through until the end. If the exorcist stops the rite, the demon can and will continue to torment the inflicted, their family, and even the exorcist himself. It can take months, weeks, days, and in rare instances, years of continuous prayer and repeated exorcisms. The individual is released when they feel a release of guilt, feel reborn, and freed of sin. Some may ask, what if I'm not Catholic and become possessed? The diocese states that God respects the authority of any church that invokes the name of Jesus Christ, but the world only recognizes the Catholic Church's protocols. So you can be Baptist, go to your pastor, tell them you feel like you're possessed or you're being demonically attacked, and the demon is supposed to recognize this authority of God and do the prayers. But the Catholic Church is the only one with protocol. And they don't teach it if you're not a Catholic authority. When demonic activity is present among other denominations, they need to be very careful that it's actually a possession. The church will teach other religious leaders a prayer of deliverance. But if this is unsuccessful, the diocese will evaluate the possession and consider performing the solemn rite of exorcism. Only a Vatican-trained exorcist can perform the solemn rite. And yet, we just talked about how for a very small fee, for less than, a hamburger and fries at McDonald's, you can become ordained through the internet to do this. Why is it only Catholics that believe they have the power? And not just Catholics themselves, but the Catholic authorities. Why do they feel they have the right and the only religious sect to have that right?
they're trying to monopolize it.
Yes. And we'll talk about it next episode because there's so much more to the story of possession and exorcism. And we'll hope that you'll join us as we explore the difference between faith and fake, medical and psychological reasons behind some possession cases. And as we always say, catch us on the flip side. Protect your souls and your wallets
And your buttholes.
and your buttholes.